Hello friends, welcome to our second video in n8n series. So if you want to learn on how you can create sophisticated agents with complex workflows using modern tools like Flowwise, n8n and Make, please make sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel. So in our previous video, we deployed n8n in AWS environment. So it was a self-hosted deployment of n8n, and in this video we log in our self-hosted n8n. I will walk you around key options, and then we'll create a hard-coded workflow, if I may call so, because we will not use AI here. And in this simple workflow, we will create a hotel booking form workflow, and there we'll create two fields, guest name and room type, and then room type will have multiple options. And once the customer fills the form, it will automatically populate our Airtable with the data. So let's go to our n8n console, and yeah, so here let me enter my email ID and password. So I'll say kumar@securityfocal.com. So if you are not sure on how you can do a self-hosting of n8n, please refer to our previous video. I have left a link here. You can see it on your top right side. So this is the n8n interface. Once you log in, you will land here. First thing that we'll do is I'm not a fond of light interface. So let's click on these three dots next to my name here, and I'll go to settings. And here there are some options. So what I'll do is from here, I will change the theme from light theme to a dark theme, and I'll click save. And yeah, we have got our dark interface. So that's it feels much better to me. So this is the home page that you land in, right? And from here you can create your first workflow. Start from scratch, or there are a number of AI agent examples that you can refer to. But for this video, we will start from scratch. So when I click here, right, it will take me to this canvas where I can create multiple nodes, stitch them together and create the workflow. So this node, right, you can drag it using your mouse, and you can move it to a place where you want to move it, right? So here you can see two options on the top. One is editor and other is execution. So once you will execute, you will be able to see what time it was executed in the execution section. And before we go that, first and important thing that you have to do here is you have to give it a name. So I'll say my first workflow here, and then you click on these three dots on the right side, and then from here you can see some options, right? You can duplicate this workflow, you can download this in JSON format, or you can import a workflow from a URL or a file. So I'll go to the settings first, and first thing you have to make sure that it's in the right time zone. So you can see my time zone is set to Asia Kolkata, which is the correct one as I'm based out of Bangalore. So make sure that you are in the right time zone before you proceed further. And I'll just click on save here. And here, right, from here you can add the first step here. So there are multiple options that you can choose from to start this workflow. You can either trigger it manually, or you can do it using a webhook call or on form submission. So multiple options are available here, as you can see, right? So if I say trigger manually, right, then if I'll click it, it will get executed. So let me click test workflow here, and workflow is executed. And if I go to the execution section, I will be able to see what time was it executed, and I can also see the outcome of it. Of course, nothing happened because we have not added anything yet. So let's go back to the editor section. And if you want to remove the workflow, you can just hover on this node and you can click on this delete icon here. Okay, so let's just select something here, maybe. Okay, so also before we do that, right, there are multiple options. So I can also integrate it with different application and trigger it based on actions in external application, including, of course, Airtable is one, Autopilot, and AWS we have multiple options to integrate with. Similarly, we can also integrate it with the Box or Dropbox or things like Facebook. So you can trigger it based on Google Sheet, Google Doc, And for Facebook also, if you are generating leads or ads from Facebook, you will be able to use this lead ads trigger. And we also have trigger for things like Figma, GitHub, GitLab, Google Ads, etc. Based on that, you can trigger the workflow. So for now, what we'll do is let's go back here. And so you can also trigger it based on a schedule. So if I say trigger on a schedule, right, on the left side, I will be able to define a schedule. So you can say it's selected as every day midnight, but I can change this, right? So instead of that, I can say every minutes, execute this every 5 minutes, right? So this kind of schedule you can create. Or there are also other options, right? So if I go back here, right, I can also do it on a webhook call, right, or on a chat message. So I will be able to chat with that, and then I'll be able to execute this workflow. You can see this chat box that appears here. Let me just remove it. And then we also have other ways, including email trigger, error trigger, local file, etc. So we will cover other ways in future videos. So for now, to get started, we want this workflow to be triggered on a form submission. So I'll select on form submission, and from here we can create our form. So you can see this test URL here. We can leverage it to test our form. So you can choose to do a authentication here. So for now, for this session, we will not do the authentication. So I'll leave it as none. So here we will say hotel room booking. And in the description, we can say select room type. And then we can put the form elements here. So in the field name, we'll say your name, and element type text is good. Placeholder, we'll say type your name, and we'll say it's a required field. So without it, don't accept the submission. And then we'll also add another form here. And here we'll say select room type. Select room type. And it will not be of the type text, but rather we'll give a drop down list here. And here we can add the options one by one. So our first option will be single room, and then we can add more options here. So next I'll say deluxe room. Third, I'll say executive room. And fourth, I can say presidential suite. Okay, and then I will toggle this multiple choices on, and I'll say this is also a required field. And now we can actually test it. So to test this, I can just click on this test step here. Right, so you can see we have got our form, and let me put some details here. So let's say I want it for myself. I'll enter my name Kumar, and then here I'll say I want to select a executive room, and I will hit on submit. Right, so you can see that the form is submitted here, and you can see the execution. So Kumar executive room, and then you can see the time, and this is correct time because this is in plus 5:30. That's my correct time zone. So that's why the time zone is extremely important. So that's what we will put for the fields here. And then keep in mind that this is the test URL, right? So you can also enter in a different tab, and then from there you can test. But then we also have a production URL for this one. And since we have did a public hosting on our AWS environment, we'll also be able to use it. So we'll do it later. So let's go back from here now, and these details get saved automatically. So you need not worry about it. Next, we want to add something here, and what we will add here is we'll add Airtable. So I'll just type Airtable here, and then you can see multiple options here, base actions, and then record actions. So for now, we want to create a record. So I'll select this option, create a record, and then I need to add the credentials. So for that, what you can do is you can go to Airtable. You can just Google Airtable or go to airtable.com, and then you can do a free registration. And once you are done with the registration and logged in into Airtable, this will be a landing page. So from here, you can see all your workspaces. So workspaces are a container where your databases lie. So I'll say I want to create a new database for the integration, and here I can give the name. So for now, I will name it as n8n workspace. And then don't start with AI. There are multiple options, but rather what I will select is start from scratch. And then you will be able to see multiple options on the right side. So please don't go there. Our work will happen with this sheet only. So we can see that this sheet or this base, rather, this is a database, right? It's named as untitled base. So instead of it, we'll change the name to n8n base. And then you can see there are multiple fields here. So we don't need these many fields. So unrequired fields, we can just right click and delete. So I'll delete this one, and then I'll delete this one, and then I'll also delete this one, and name. And if you double click here, right, you will be able to see the type. Single line test will do for us for name. And then the second field, right, we'll change it to hotel room selected, right? And the long test again is good for us. And then we see there are some rows here which are not required for us, so we can just delete the selected records. So we have created a table 1 in our n8n base. Now we'll connect it with our n8n distribution deployment. So to do that, what you need to do is click on your name on the right hand side, and from here you will see multiple options. You need to select Builder Hub here, and in the Builder Hub, right, there are multiple options on the left side. You need to go to Personal Access Tokens. So here you will be able to create a new token. So I have already created one token here. Let me just create a new token, and I'll say n8n token 2. And then you need to define a scope. Now let's go back here, and when you say create new credentials, right, it will also tell you what scope you need to select. So it's saying make sure you enable the following scopes for your tokens. And if you have any doubt, you can always click on open docs. So that will take you to n8n website, where you will be able to see multiple options and what are the scopes required and how you can actually create that token for the integration. Now let me just close, and let's go back to the workflow. And yeah, let's go to the Airtable, and from here let's add the scope. So our scopes require data records read permission, and then we also need data records write permission, and then we also need schema basis read permission, right? We'll just revalidate data records read, data records write, and schema basis read permission. So we have selected the desired permission, and then we also need to select the access level. So here you need to select the database. So I'll say add a base, and then I have n8n base here, and then I can say create token. Okay, so you can copy this token, and let me save it on a notepad file. Let me just remove the earlier one, and now I'll say done, and then it will get saved here, right? So make sure this token is saved before we move further. So here we will enter our access token that we have copied in the previous step, and I'll click on save here, and you can see that there's a green tick which says credential successfully created, which means our integration is good. So let me just close it now, and here, right, you can see our last submission, right? So from here, you will be able to add information directly. So let's just go these things one by one. So resources, you see two options, base and record. For now, we'll say record. Operations, so there are multiple operations that you can select here. But for now, what we want is we want to create the fields, we want to basically populate this data in our Airtable. And in the base section, you have to select the base. So I'll say I'll click on choose here, and that will populate our n8n database that we created in Airtable. And then in the table section, again we have table 1 there, right? So here is our table 1. If I let me just go back here and go back to workspaces and n8n base. And here, all right, you can see this is our table 1. That's what we have selected there. And then I'll say map each columns manually. And at the in the name field, right, I will just drag this name. So here you can see 3 fields, right? Schema, table, and JSON, right? So for now we are interested into schema. So just go to schema, and from here you can just drag it and drop in the name section, right? So it will automatically populate it with the expression, and you can see that Kumar is the expression for this field. And then in the select room type section, just drag this select room type here and drop it into hotel room selected, right? So the result is executive room, right? So we should be good here. And if you want to test it, you can click on test step. So that will basically add it to our Airtable here. So you can see that it has added my name along with the hotel room that I have selected here. So we should be good for now. And I can say go back to Canvas. So our details are saved here. Now make sure that you keep on saving your work continuously. So I'll just hit on save here, and our changes are saved. Now notice this toggle button, right? This is set to inactive for now. And if you want to publish it to people outside the organization, you need to toggle it as active. And then you have to use this URL. So I can just let me just double click on this. And here you can see the production URL, right? So this is the production URL that your users can use. So I'll just close this one, and then I'll say back to Canvas, and we have copied our production URL, right? So what we can do is we can open the production URL in a new tab here. Okay, let me just check what went wrong. We have not toggled it on, right? So that's why you're getting this error. So let me just change it to active. And when you toggle it to active, right, just note one thing, that you need to go to execution section to see the execution details. You will not be able to see it in this editor section. So now we have toggled it as on, and if I just refresh the page, you can see our beautiful form here that can be accessed publicly. So here you can enter the name. So let's take another example. Let's say I have a friend by the name of Vikram, and he's a rich guy, so he'll stay in a presidential suite. So I can just hit submit, right? And again, let me refresh this page again. And okay, if we go to our Airtable, we can see the second entry also done, and we can do multiple entries similarly. Let's say there is a gentleman by the name of Daniel who preferred deluxe room. So I'll just hit enter, and then form is submitted, and then again I can refresh it again, and then I'll say let's say Olivia, and she's a rich lady, so she prefers presidential suite, and that's it. So we can see all these things are getting populated in our Airtable, which means our integration holds good. So this workflow is created now. Another thing that is important here is that from here you will be able to download this workflow in JSON format. So if I just click on download, right, it has downloaded my first workflow in the JSON format, and I can also import it using a URL or a file like I mentioned earlier. And there are a number of templates that are already available from n8n. So if you click on this template option here, right, you can see hundreds of workflow automation templates are ready to use from n8n. Many of them are free, and some of them are also on a chargeable basis. So if I just select marketing specific templates, right, you can see a number of templates: fully automated AI video creation and multi-platform publishing, auto publish social videos, and so on and so forth. So some of it are free, as you can see, and some of it are chargeable. So you can see this one is for $10. So if once you are well versed with n8n, you can also choose to create your own templates which can probably add value to existing businesses, and you can upload it there, and you can also charge people for it. So this is what I wanted to cover in this video, and I hope you found good value from this video. Before you leave, please make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. So thanks a lot for joining us today.